Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me tonight, I actually have Michelle. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, John.
Hey. And I just want to say welcome back to the show. It's been a while. The last time we were on, we ended up reviewing. What movie did we end up reviewing at that time? Don't tell them the babysitter's dead.
Yep, that was
Yep,
it.
that's what I thought. So you guys can actually catch that on the audio version of the podcast. But there's just something that I've been wondering about though too, and I know that you've been wondering about this: is the streaming movies at home versus watching movies at the theater. I thought this was a very good topic that you chose because this is something that I've been wondering about. I know you have a daughter. I know it's a convenience issue though too when it comes down to streaming movies at home, and it's probably more of a convenience issue, right?
Yeah, who wants to pay $30 to watch a movie at home? you know.
Exactly. I Here's the thing. I don't agree with Disney Plus whenever they're charging $30 to go ahead and stream a movie when you can just go down to the theater. I know that we're during COVID and everything else, but when you actually look at it and stuff like that, $30 is definitely overpriced for a movie that you don't know if you're going to like and you're not even going to get the chance to keep it.
And I totally agree with you. Honestly, like if it was okay, I paid for it on Disney Plus for the $30 and now it was saved somehow so that I could watch it whenever I wanted, I could at least justify paying $30 for it. But the
Exactly.
fact that I'm going to watch it for once and then I have it for I think 24 hours and then it's poof, it's gone. There's no way.
No, definitely not. No movie is worth $30. Don't get me wrong. I know over here, I drive now to the theater I go to is like a mom and pop's theater. It's like 20 minutes away from here. But they don't play every movie, right? They don't play all some of the blockbusters that I want to see or whatever. So therefore, I have to drive 45 minutes away to a theater that does. And the way I see it at one time was the fact, I spend $20 for gas. Then after that, you're going to go out to eat. You're going to go ahead and spend about maybe $20, $25 if it's just you don't have kids or anything like that. And also you're on your very first date with somebody, for example. So you're spending close to maybe the same price that you would paying for a movie online. So therefore you might as well go on ahead and rent the movie for $30. But then I started thinking to myself, I can change my mind at any time, especially after realizing too that you don't even get to keep the movie and you don't even know if you're going to like the movie to begin with. At least at the theater or whatever, you can go ahead and try and enjoy the movie and enjoy it with others and see what the outcome is later on.
Well, exactly. So here's the whole thing is like, yeah, all right, you have to drive further. Maybe you wind up spending more than $30 because, like you said, you're going on a date and you're getting popcorn and you're paying for a soda, but you're paying for the experience
Right.
of going to the theater or sitting down in the big black dark theater with your surround sound and your popcorn and your big giant soda. Like that's the experience that you're looking for. Sitting down on your front of your TV at home, you can do that and not pay $30 extra.
Exactly. And I ended up watching a couple of movies through the streaming service like HBO Max and stuff like that. I have to be honest with you. I was kind of let down by some of the stuff that I ended up enduring on HBO Max. For instance, we had the Little Things with Denzel Washington. Then, of course, the Tom and Jerry movie. Then we had some other stuff that came out, Kong versus Godzilla, which I'm there for just the fights itself.
Right.
But I was let down by it because of the fact it was mostly focused on the human aspect and not so much on the fighting aspect of Godzilla versus Kong. And I was just imagining myself paying money to go see that movie and being totally let down. But, I did go to the theaters to see this, and I was actually, I ended up liking the fight segments, but it doesn't take away from the fact how I actually felt about the movie in itself. But there is a such thing as being let down and also to having that experience with the crowd. But still, you never know what you're going to come out with.
Right. Now, generally, I feel like if you're going to go to the movie theater to see a movie, it's like a special treat. It's something that you wouldn't do every weekend or, even once a month. That's like a lot to me to do that. So, like at home to sit down and do it, like you said, okay, I didn't really pay for it. It is what it is. if I went to the theater and saw it, I'd have been let down. But I also feel like you probably wouldn't have necessarily gone to see a movie like that in theaters, knowing that it might be a letdown. You know what I mean? You kind
Exactly.
of save up to wait for the movie that you're really excited for, or that you've been really looking forward to seeing for a long time.
Exactly. Like Kong versus Godzilla. Now, with the little things, I would definitely hold my money for something else because of the fact, don't get me wrong, I like Denzel Washington. I love Jared Leto and everything else. And I also like the actor that, Rami Malek, for example. But all three of them, to me, the movie was just a total letdown with that. And I'm like, if I went and saw this movie, if I went on and spent money to go see the little things, I would have been upset with myself for spending that because I was expecting something more. And because I was expecting something more from the trailer I saw, I was like, okay, I've wasted my whole entire 2.5 hours that I can't get back.
Right. Right, exactly. And see, and I did watch The Little Things also, and I agree. Like it was a cute movie, but it's not something I would have wanted to necessarily see in a theater. I would have been disappointed as well if I'd spent money to see it.
Most definitely. And my question is this, like, I know you have a daughter of your own and everything, but what do you prefer? I mean, I know you know, we talked about a little bit about the streaming movies at home and then going in for the experience of celebrating with other people, because that's what I love going to the movies for, is celebrating with others.
Hmm.
But with having a kid and everything, that's probably a little bit more beneficial to you because you get to stay home and watch the movie and you can pause it whenever. But does that also take you out of the film for doing that?
So, like, we don't really like. I won't pay the $30 on a Disney Plus for a
Right,
movie
right,
that's going to come out in 2 months. Because to me, they always wind up coming out releasing them free in 2 months anyway from the
right,
Disney Plus list of paid movies. So,
right,
like something like that, I'm not doing that at all, to be honest. But
right.
like I've taken her to the movie theater see in since the pandemic because it was completely empty actually.
Oh, okay.
uh I took her to go see Shrek because our movie theaters have been replaying older movies for like $5.
Oh, you can't beat that.
So right, exactly. So I think, for me, my husband, my daughter, it was like $15, and I have the AMC reward program, whatever. So I got
Right.
like my popcorn was free, whatever. So it was like $15. And I was like, you know what, let's just get out of the house, do something for a day. And we had a blast because, like I said, the theater was empty anyway. She was literally dancing in the aisles.
That's
Like,
awesome.
like if people had been there, of course I would have had to like, well, you gotta sit down, you gotta sit down, you gotta sit down. But because no one was there, it worked out perfectly.
Exactly. I think that's awesome. And like you said, she needed something to do to get some of the energy off though as
And
well, and then she enjoyed it with
And it may not have
watching
been a
Shrek.
new movie, but it was a movie that we all knew we liked, and it still cost less than what a new Disney movie costs,
Exactly.
which is
And also,
ridiculous.
it definitely is. And Charlie and I talked about this. If they would have just went on ahead and do what they're doing with Paramount, right, or HBO Max rather. Well, Paramount is actually doing this. After 45 days of it being in the theater, it goes straight over to the streaming service.
Right. So why am I going to pay money for it?
Right. Exactly. But my thing is this. To me, I think that they can actually benefit from both angles. I think that Disney could have just went on ahead, show it at the movies, and then 45 days later, go on ahead and stream it instead of charging $30 for a movie that you can't even keep.
Well, and I totally agree. I'd rather if I had seen that. Okay, I want to say it's called Raya, the movie with the dragons.
Yeah, it's Raya.
So we didn't watch it yet because they're charging $30 for it, and I'm not paying
Right.
it. And I don't know if you know, but like I'm a complete dragon fanatic. I think dragons are like the coolest things in the world. I have tattoos of dragons, everything.
Me too.
So like the fact that I refuse to pay $30 to watch this movie, people are like, "Oh, it's $30, $30." But like you said, it's not a movie that my kid can keep watching.
Right.
And in a couple months, they're going to release it on Disney Plus for free.
Exactly.
So I'll just wait. I'll just wait.
You see, that's exactly how I feel, to be honest with you, because I feel like, what's the point?
Now,
And
now, if a movie's like on demand for $5 or $6, and it's a movie that I've seen the trailer. This looks really good. I really want to watch it. I'll pay $5 or $6. I
Yeah,
don't care. And I'm a Red Boxer. I like to go to the Red
me too.
Box and pay, what is it, $3 now for DVD. And back in the
Well,
day, Blockbuster. I miss
mhm,
Blockbuster, to be
I do too.
honest.
I miss the smell of a Blockbuster, to be honest with you. And there,
Right.
and there's only one that's actually open now. So, and I know people that actually travel out of state just to go ahead and go to a Blockbuster to have that feel
Oh, that's
that
so
we miss.
funny.
Like I know some, like for instance, I want to say it's in Wyoming. I'm not 100% sure, but I watched the documentary on Netflix, and basically you had someone that traveled out of country to come here to celebrate Blockbuster,
Oh,
and they were
gosh.
yeah, and they were get this, they were actually taking selfies in there. They were talking about how excited they were. They were calling their friends, saying, "Hey, look, you know where I'm at? I'm in a Blockbuster."
Oh, that's so funny. That's
But
so
yeah,
funny. I like, honestly, like, we even had over in my area, it was called A to Z Video. And
mm,
it's the same idea as a Blockbuster, but it was like a mom pop shop owned type Blockbuster. And like, that was the thing you did as a kid on a Friday night. Your parents took you to A to Z Video and you went and you each picked a movie, and somebody watched a movie on Friday, somebody watched a movie on Saturday, and on Sunday you brought them all back. Like,
exactly. And you see, I also Redbox. I Redbox too, but I don't pay attention to the reviews. I can't stand the 5-star system. I'd rather talk to somebody than to actually read through the reviews and everything. That's one of my little nitpicky parts.
so I don't really look too much at movies. I'll pick like, oh, I like the trailer, I'll watch this movie.
Right.
But as you know, Rick, he's one of those people. He's on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and all those things before I can even finish the trailer. So I'm like, so he's like, oh, but this only got, and I'm like, I don't care what it got. I want to watch it.
Right, exactly. And another thing too that I want to mention is this, like, for instance, I just got done renting Willy's Wonderland from the PlayStation Store with Nicolas Cage, the new Nicolas Cage movie. And at first, it was like $20 to rent. I was like, nah, I'm not spending $20 to watch Nicolas Cage play in a B-rated movie that's kind of close to Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm gonna wait until the price comes down on it, and it was like $5. So I went on ahead and rented it for $5.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly. See, that's me. I'm like, 20, nah, forget it. 5, all right, now you're talking.
Exactly, because hey, if the movie isn't that great of a film, at least I can say, okay, I only spent $5 on my disappointment, and then I can go on ahead and pay my $5 back into the bank and do it that
Right.
way.
Right. And I mean, you know what? Like, I think the only movie I really paid probably like too much money to see it was the new Invisible Man.
Oh yeah, that was a good
With
movie.
and the reason that I really, really wanted to see it is I don't know if you ever watch it, but Handmaid's Tale, the same girl is the same actress from The Handmaid's Tale.
No,
Uh,
I never saw her, but that was my first introduction into her acting ability, though.
Oh well, I'm kind of obsessed with Handmaid's Tale, so uh, it's a great show if you
Okay,
need a show. But but yeah, so I was like, oh, it's the same actress. I have to see it. I have to see it. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, it looks amazing. So I think we probably paid $20 to rent that. And
okay,
then when it came out in Redbox, you know, how Redbox will sell their DVDs. They're
right,
like when they're getting rid of them anyway. So I
right.
think I wound up paying $10 to buy it.
That's not bad. That's not
Yeah.
bad. Because let me just say this. That was like the last movie I saw before Kong versus Godzilla, was before the pandemic, was The Invisible Man. And I saw that in the theater. But yeah, that movie is really good. I'm glad that you got a chance to see it. But yeah, I would have to say that, you know, $10 to buy a movie is not that bad. I used to work at a video store and everything called Movie Gallery, and basically I would go on ahead and get some of the pre-used stuff as well. And
Right,
that's
yeah, absolutely. We have it's called FYE. I don't know if they're everywhere. Um
they used to be over here, but then they ran out of business.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
ours is located in our already really small, crappy little mall here. And so it was interesting because we actually went to the mall a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time we'd been there in months and months and months, you know? And we went in and I was like, oh, let me just walk around in FYE. Sometimes they got like the $5 kind of movie box or whatever. And I'm like, let me take a look. This place was almost empty. And I was like, are people just not coming? Are they going out of business? Like, what's going on in here?
But yeah, they were here's the thing. I miss FYE because that's where I got Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is my favorite Robert Downey Jr. movie and stuff like that. And that's something that I really miss. I miss FYE for the physical content. Don't get me wrong. I like digital because I can, put it in my pocket and walk off or whatever. But I miss the physical touch of a disc, of a CD, of a Blu-ray, or something in that context.
Well, also the idea of being able to go in and not really know what you're looking for and winding up coming across a movie that's maybe one of your favorite movies. You know what I found there was Fractured a long time ago, and it's got darn, what's his name? Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Is the main character in it, and I
Anthony
picked it up.
Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, thank you. And I saw Anthony Hopkins on the front of it, and I said, "Oh, it's Anthony Hopkins, and it's a $5 movie." I said, what's the worst case scenario? I threw away $5 on a terrible movie, and
exactly,
it's a great movie.
But that's what I like. It's like finding treasure and a buried treasure. You never know what you're going to get out of that and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I really love about doing stuff like that over at FYE. Another thing too is watching that with your family and everything for the first time also creates memories and stuff like that. So that's something else that I like about finding stuff that's like a hidden gem that you never heard of before.
Right.
I also have to say this though too. I ended up spending $5 to just watch The Way Back with Ben Affleck. At first it was like $30, and then they lowered it down to $20, and then they lowered it down again to $5.
Which movie was that?
It was called The Way Back. It's got Ben Affleck in it, and basically it's about him being addicted to alcohol and what it does what it does to people's lives whenever you are consuming large amounts of alcohol. And this guy was showering with beer, taking a shower with beer and drinking it while he was showering.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I definitely loved Ben Affleck's performance in The Way Back. The Way Back is definitely a good movie if you're looking for a redemption kind of story and things like that.
Cool. Yeah.
But
I really do miss actually like having like you said, like even just like going to a Blockbuster on a Friday night, just flipping through all the different movies and trying to find the one for the weekend,
Exactly. That's something I miss.
And I feel like you go in with like a genre in mind. You're like, oh, I want a good horror movie, and then you could just go to the horror section. But like, you can't really do that nowadays. I mean, like, yeah, no. I can go on Netflix and type in horror, and a bunch of really bad B horror movies will pop up, and maybe a couple of good ones. But you've seen them all because they're good ones.
Right. Exactly. And that's also too. You can also go to the horror website though too, that horror app that they have out now.
Yeah, it's not the same.
No, it's definitely not. I miss the human interaction because I like to talk to the person and say, hey, look, did you check this out? What did you think of it? Not only that, but going to the new release wall and seeing what they have in the horror section or whatever section that you're looking at. 1 minute you could be looking at a different genre, going into for one genre, and then you walk out with a comedy.
That's true too. Yeah, absolutely. Like Rick and I have. I don't know if you ever watch Netflix. Nailed It. It's like a baking show, but it's funny. It's like a really funny baking show, and it's like when we're in the mood for a comedy, sometimes we wind up watching that instead, just because we want the laugh, but not the 2.5 hours of being trapped at a screen.
Right. Exactly. And I do that all the time with Hulu. It's like, okay, what do I want to watch? And then I'm like, I'm going through one genre. I'm like, I guess I'll go ahead and watch this instead.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but, I definitely love going to the movies and everything too, to have that celebration. And also too, you can actually meet some new people that you never thought you would actually meet before and have a conversation with them, a complete stranger, and actually talk with them and during the movie or whatever, and laugh at the same stuff or comment here and there, because I've actually had that happen to me. That's something that I really love about going to the movies, is sharing that experience.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, also the fact that like I'm, you know, like you said, like you usually would go as like a date or something, but like we used to even go with my in-laws. We used
Mhm.
to go see the newest whatever, and then we could go have dinner afterwards and have, you know, an hour-long conversation about the movie we just saw
Yep.
and if we liked it, if we didn't like it, if we were drawn in, and what was our favorite parts. And you know, it I do miss the experience of it all. I do miss getting up and going to the movie theater. Like obviously I was going enough that, like I said, I bought like a, you know, the year membership pass to go so that I would
Right
get
on.
the $5 movie deals and all that silly stuff.
It pays
But
off in the end, though.
and it does, exactly. That's the thing, is like you literally wind up getting like free movie tickets and free popcorns and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not cheap to go to the theater to begin with.
No, definitely not. And then also too, I used to do this. I used to do dinner and a movie when I was on a date, but then I was like, you know what? Let me do this ass backwards, right?
Yeah, movie and a dinner.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's already awkward already for the first date. You don't know what to talk about. So you go see a movie, right? And then you go on ahead and you talk about the movie, which opens up for conversation, which also opens up to getting to know the person that you're with.
Right, and also especially if you go to, you know, if you go to movie and then, or dinner first and then you go to the movie. Dinner not only is awkward because you don't really have anything to talk about, especially if it's a first date or whatever, but also then by the end of dinner, you kind of both already know if you really wanted to continue this date or not. But if you already made plans to go to the movie, now you have no choice.
Exactly.
Like she might already be like, this is over, but now I have to go sit for 2 hours with you.
Exactly. It's like, it's been fun. Let me go see here. What kind of excuse I can get to? Oh yeah, let me go on ahead and go to the bathroom for a few minutes and waste some time. Let me call one of my girlfriends up.
Right.
Hey, look,
Oh,
there's
I
this
have a
guy.
family emergency.
Well, I hope everything's okay. Yeah, me too. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
But I actually had that happen to me. Like, I was, it was supposed to be a first date, but it ended up being me, this girl, and our friend. And I was getting ready to go to the movies anyways to see the movie Saw, one of the Saw movies with my friend Kevin. But it was just a first date kind of scenario where it was just going to be lunch. And it turned out that it was me being ignored and talking about people that I have no fucking clue at who they are. But I was supposed to make them feel like that I knew. so
Ooh, yeah, that's weird.
yeah. So
Why'd
needless to
she
say,
bring a friend on a date?
I don't have a clue.
That's weird.
Yeah, and they both quit their jobs that same day and were celebrating. So I kind of went into a girl's day out / date without even knowing that's what I
You
was
wound
walking
up
into.
being the third wheel instead of the friend wind up being the third wheel.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's awkward.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, so no second date. but
I'm trying
but
to think
anyways,
of what our last movie experience like pre-pandemic was, and I think it might have been like 1917.
that's a great movie, to be honest with you.
Oh, it was fabulous. I think we saw it with, the reason I said that we used to like go with my in-laws was I think we went with my in-laws to go see 1917.
That is such a great movie.
And you know, Rick's a history teacher and a history buff.
Right, of course. And
So
I
that
am
worked
too.
out well. Yeah, that worked out well.
Another thing too is like pre-pandemic, we're dealing with people with cell phones and stuff like that. So with me being me and who I am, I was being optimistic, especially with Kong versus Godzilla and everything. And I was thinking, okay, maybe there might not be anybody on their cell phones. Maybe people are gonna be where they're gonna be happy going back into the theater, having that movie going experience. Maybe I might not have to get on to anybody or anything like that. But guess what? There was actually somebody sitting right next to me with a cell phone out and talking the whole time. Well, not talking, but
Ugh,
texting.
I believe it. Honestly, I feel like people think that like since what and is it like less crowded now because
Right.
also, the pandemic. So they probably figure like, oh, it's not going to bother anybody anyway because they're far enough away that it's not going to trigger anybody to see me on my phone. But of
Right.
course, like, it's annoying when people are on their phones in the theater anyway.
Definitely. It most definitely is, to be honest with you. And also, too, I mean, I was expecting a good movie going experience, hopefully going back into the theater again. It did take me out of it a little bit, but then after that, I snapped right back in and tried to ignore her as much as I could.
Yeah.
But that's
See,
one
and
of
don't take this the wrong way, but that's not a movie that I would ever in my life have paid to go see in a theater. It's just not my type of movie.
right. I get that.
But
It was it was like $5 Tuesday kind of deal. So
yeah, and I get it, but
right.
yeah, no, not for me.
Well, it's just like my sister said, right? My brother-in-law goes, it was my sister's like, so how was the movie? My brother-in-law goes, it was fantastic.
Oh,
They did
no.
something they did he goes, they did something different this time. And my sister's like, what could they possibly do different to a gorilla? And every so he's like, and then after that, he didn't say anything. He just kind of had his head down. He goes, I brought candy back. And then puts the candy on the counter and walks off. And sulks.
I like her response. That's
Right.
fabulous.
It was hilarious.
Great. That is funny.
What could they do that's different with a gorilla that they didn't do before? He's like, I brought candy back. Boop.
Walks off.
Right.
He's like, I'm sulking in the corner now.
Right.
That's fabulous. Yeah.
It really is. But yeah, there have been some disappointments, whenever it comes down to the Warner Brothers content as far as the streaming stuff goes for HBO Max. I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing that I can say that was actually pretty good was the Snyder Cut so far.
So my whole thing, so I didn't even realize like HBO has like paid movies that you can also watch. I guess is HBO everything's free, right?
Yeah, everything's free. It's just that they have because the way it works is this: Warner Brothers has a contract out with HBO Max to be able to play their movies and everything.
Okay.
So that's how they're able to do these free movies and stuff like that. It's because they actually have a contract out for them.
Right. Yeah, because I was like, I don't think I've seen HBO selling anything besides, HBO.
Right, exactly. And, the only thing that I see that they had going for themselves right now is the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was actually probably the best thing that they had on HBO Max so far.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Mortal Kombat whenever it drops.
See, I'm that's like my game.
Mine too. That's my childhood.
Rick gets so mad. That's like one of the only games that I can like really kill Rick at. And he's like, it's a button mashing game. It's not real. I'm like, I mash buttons better.
I can just see him saying that as he's getting aggravated with the game.
Well, it's like we're now like 8-1.
Oh wow!
And he'll be like, and like my hand's like cramping up at that point. You know what I mean? Because I'm not really a gamer.
Right. And that's like my friend Gus. He did a vitality on me. I was like, how did you do that? He goes, I don't know. I just pushed the buttons.
Exactly. Rick asks me all the time. He's like, how do you do the combination that you just did? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, but you did it 3 times. And I'll be like, I know.
I know, but I don't know what I'm doing.
How I did it. I just button mashed. I was like, I've been doing it since I was a kid. My brain has some muscle memory, maybe.
Right? Just flexing that muscle. But yeah, that's something that I'm really excited for, to see what this new Mortal Kombat's going to look like.
Yeah, definitely. I think like Amazon's been pretty much killing it. I haven't really watched a whole lot of it, but I've been noticing that they've been putting out a lot really quickly.
Yeah, I have watched a lot of good content from them, especially One Night in Miami. That was a good one. Then a couple of other independent stuff, small independent projects that I got to check out, that I interviewed a couple of people for. I actually got to check out some of their projects on there.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was a cool experience to experience that on Amazon versus watching it on YouTube and stuff like that. Because, it makes the person that's actually doing these independent projects feel like that they're larger than life, to be honest with you. It makes it feel so real. Like you have something on Amazon and people might actually have a chance to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of those movies was Concrete Jungle I checked out. Then there was another one. There was like an overseas movie called The Midas Touch that I checked out. And it's kind of a raunchy comedy kind of thing. But it was fun. It was funny for what it was. And then, of course, I watched another movie on YouTube called Alone, which is an independent project that I did a review for. But still, it was fun watching, just seeing those smaller films.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm all for like watching all the free content because, like I said, I hate to be like, oh, I'm so cheap, but I'm so cheap.
Well, to me, it's not about being cheap. It's about what your budget is like, right? Because here's the thing. We're getting rid of probably satellite and all that pretty soon anyways, because everything's going to streaming services.
Right. Well, I haven't had cable in, oh my gosh. I'm going to go 7 years.
Okay. That's good though, but I still have DirecTV, unfortunately. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And what do you watch on your DirecTV?
Well, it's not so much as me. It's what my mom watches because she likes her Element. She likes all that other stuff and things like that. Me, just giving me my streaming services, I'm good.
That's us, yeah.
But basically is this, I feel like by the time you get done getting all the streaming services that you want, you pay just as high for those services that you do for DirecTV. It adds up over a period of time. But it's not about, to me, it's not about being cheap. It's about what your budget is like and what you can afford.
Right. Well, and I agree, like honestly, between Amazon Prime, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus now, HBO. At one point we had Stars. I think we recently canceled that. That's like 6 streaming services. It probably is the equivalent of what cable goes for here when we add it all up, but it's nice they're not all doing one big shot. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And also, you got to think, like, when I started Netflix, it was like $8.99 or $9.99 a month. I think it's like $15 now.
It's crazy because I was like, there's not even that much stuff on Netflix for me to basically keep. Yeah, they have some good stuff, but not enough for me to keep my attention. Don't get me wrong. I love Stranger Things just as enough next as the next guy. And I like a couple of their other shows. But most of them are the shows that I like, they canceled.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I had downloaded Stars originally to watch Outlander, and I'm an Outlander fanatic. But the first 4 seasons of Outlander are on Netflix. So after I finished watching the new season, I canceled my Stars. Next year it'll be on Netflix. When the new season comes out, I'll download Netflix for 1 month, binge watch all of them, and cancel it again.
Hey, see, that's what I did with Cobra Kai whenever it was on YouTube Red. I went on ahead. I subscribed for YouTube Red for, I think it was 3 months. No, not 3 months, maybe a month. And I did it during the month that the second season was going to drop. So I binge watched all the first season. And then when the second season came out, I binge watched all of that. And then after that, I canceled YouTube Red.
Right, exactly. Pay a month or two, whatever, and then cancel it. I mean, if you're only watching it for one show, there's no point.
Exactly. Because don't get me wrong, I love original content. Original content is what gets me going. But if you don't have enough original content, if your original content is not great, I'm not going to stick around to find out if you're going to end up doing better.
Right, exactly. And I mean, so I hold on to Netflix, I guess. I don't really.
Me too.
I don't really know what keeps me going with Netflix, but I guess because it's the original. Like,
the OG of the streaming.
Exactly. Like, that was the first streaming service that I ever was like, oh, I have to have this.
Exactly.
And occasionally Netflix, like you said, Stranger Things, they drop great shows sometimes, but they're getting further and fewer in between.
They definitely are. And I didn't even like, here's the thing. I watched the show Glow, which is a women's wrestling type of show. And I wound up liking it. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, we're going to cancel that. I'm like, Well, so much for that.
Well, you know which one Rick really loved? Santa Clarita Diet.
Oh yeah. Okay, I heard that
And
was really good.
it was really good. It's so funny. Drew Barrymore's in it. She's like, top of the line actressing. And and I think they only did 2 or 3 seasons and then they canceled it without like any closure of the show.
That's
They
what
basically
sucks.
they were like, "Oh, sorry, we're canceling." And it's like, but you just left us hanging at the end of the last season. And they're like, "Too bad it got canceled." And I was like, she got offered a better job.
It's good for her, but bad for us because
Exactly.
we need closure. We're the type of people that actually need closure in our lives.
Right. And they
But
could have
I
really
can
kept that show going for a few more seasons, no problem.
And you see, I would actually thought that Santa Carla Diet, I thought for sure maybe someone might buy it from Netflix for the rights, maybe Showtime, maybe HBO, and then continue off like they did with Lucifer with CBS. But they never even did it.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like Netflix isn't good about that kind of stuff either. I feel like they like to hold on to their own content. Like,
Right.
Like Disney owns everything now, pretty much.
Right, because here's the thing with Disney, they own Hulu. They also own a part of ESPN. They
own FX.
Yep. Get this. When Fox took over, here's the thing. Fox only owned 30% of Hulu. Now that they own Fox, now Disney owns 60% of Netflix. Not Netflix, but Hulu.
Right.
Which is crazy.
That's a huge chunk, yeah.
So it's like everything is now owned to the mouse, to Disney. And I'm like, okay, what's going to happen next? Are they going to try to go after WB? At that point, they're monopolizing. Although I'm going to say that they probably already are monopolizing, but
Well, they've been monopolizing for such a long time, to be fair.
Right.
They own so much that like people don't even realize. Like they own your news channels. Come on now.
Right, ABC.
Like in what world? But I mean, hey, they've got the money, they've got the name.
Right.
Who's going to say no to that?
Exactly. If they have the money to back it, then yeah.
I mean, they own Star Wars, for crying out loud.
Which is right, exactly. And I feel like with Star Wars and everything, George Lucas is probably kicking his own ass for selling that to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's getting his cut.
He is. He's getting his cut. But, I mean, I bet
I'm sure he's happy to sit back and just collect.
True. Just have a big old huge dump pile of money coming to his house.
like I'm picturing him on like a beach, but the beach is just made out of money.
I can see that. Like kind of like a Scrooge McDuck kind of feel.
Like a palm tree just of built up cash.
I can definitely see George doing something like that.
Right. So I mean, I'm sure I don't think he's regretful. And if he is, you know what?
That's his own doing.
He's still okay.
Right.
He's not suffering for it.
He's like, let me go in and wipe out my tears with my money here. Let me go in and get a couple $100 bills. It'll be all right.
These are the softest tissues you've ever felt.
I love it. Let's see. And then also too, I mean, I have Paramount Plus as well.
So streaming service. I was going to say, is that another thing to add on to your streaming services? I didn't even know Paramount Plus was a streaming service.
Yeah, actually, it was CBS All Access, and then it got changed over to Paramount Plus because Paramount ended up buying CBS All Access.
Gotcha.
And to be honest with you, I haven't seen enough content really to say that you should get it or not. I'm just watching it for The Stand for Stephen King because I'm a huge Stephen King fan.
The Newsstand, I heard such terrible things about it.
I'm only in the first episode. So
we'll have to talk about that in our own little private chat because I need to know if it's worth watching.
To be honest with you, it starts out the same as the 90s.
It does. See, I heard that it's not nearly comparable to the original.
You see, in the first half, it is kind of comparable, but I need to watch more so I can give you a yay or nay on it.
Yeah.
But you know,
So is it a mini series the way the original was done?
this is more of like a season 1 type of deal or one-off
That's what
kind
I
of deal.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they did. As a matter of fact, the season's actually over with. They're not even thinking about
Right.
making out season 2. And it was like,
Right.
oh, how could they do that? I'm like, it's a one-off. What did you expect?
Right. It's based off of a show that was 6 hours long. Like,
And also a book, you know?
right.
So,
Well, exactly. Well, and it's funny because like Rick hates, because I actually own the original on DVD. And, you know, I think it's 2 DVDs because it's a mini series.
right.
And Rick absolutely hates when I watch it because I'm always like, we have to watch the whole thing. And he's like, but the whole thing is like 6 hours. And I'm like, yep. Yep. It's like a whole day event when you want to watch The Stand.
Exactly.
Like you
And I
have to go
remember,
from start to finish.
and you know what's funny? I remember renting The Stand at Blockbuster, and it was like two VHS tapes stuck together.
Even still, I don't even think they put it all on one DVD. That's why I think I have 2.
Right.
I think it's like part 1, and then there's like it ends with remission, and I was like, you don't need a remission, just hit next.
I can see Rick going, I need intermission in my life. I need a break.
I'm like,
From
make
The
a
Stand.
coffee.
I can see, hey, Michelle, yeah, do you want coffee? Because I know I do. But-
The original Stand is like, it's amazing, and I'm also a Stephen King fan, and I like most Stephen King remake movies. They're pretty good.
They definitely are. Some of them are good. I definitely like the Stephen King's It remake for the first one. The second one, not so much. I like aspects of it, but I didn't love it as much as the first one.
Well, I definitely agree. The first one is got like the creepy factor
Mhm.
and the horror itself, which is what brings you to the book. And I feel like the second one has got more of almost like a comedy creepy to it.
Right. It's kind of like a dark comedy kind of vibe to it,
Right.
which
And
I
I
don't
mean,
mind.
I don't
Right.
mind it either. I enjoy it, but you're right. It doesn't compare with the first one in the way of the book. If that's what if you're looking
Right.
for it to match up with the book, you have to go with the first one.
Exactly.
And we're Dreamcatcher fans.
Oh, I love Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher is awesome. The book is
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, and the movie was done well.
Yeah. It was pretty much page by page, if you actually think about it from a perfect adaptation of a book, to be honest with you.
I mean, of course, whenever you remake a movie from a book, it's going to miss some of those little details that you were looking for. But I agree, for comparison, it's pretty darn close.
Most
It's
definitely.
got most of those the treats that you want, like how the thoughts run through their heads, and how he's got the whole bookstore in his mind, and yeah, I think they do it pretty well.
I think so too. I definitely love the bookstore in his mind and stuff like that. I just wish they would have put the little It Easter egg in there. I think that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because It is actually one of my favorite novels. So, but anyways, is there anything else that you wanted to catch on with the streaming movies at home versus watching the movies at theater though?
I feel like we covered most of it. I mean,
Okay.
I'm excited for someday the pandemic to be over and
Me too.
go back to the movie theater like a normal person and not just go see Shrek.
I understand. And I'm hoping to go to the theater, and it's actually where I can see regular movies, but I'm hoping to see a better movie than what I saw. So,
Oh, definitely. Well, see, and like, obviously now we have a toddler. She's not really at the age we're going to the theater to go see a movie that me and Rick might enjoy is really a feasible thing, but it'd be
Right.
nice to get a babysitter and say, not like the babysitter from our other podcast.
right.
But a babysitter to watch Willow and go see an adult movie and be able to actually sit down and enjoy it. But I just don't know when that's gonna really be a feasible thing. Luckily, I'm already vaccinated. Rick's half vaccinated.
Right.
Hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, that would be a great thing. But I feel like even our movie theaters, they've been doing so badly with the pandemic.
Right.
that they're literally trying to sell $5 tickets all week long. So who
Right. And
knows?
right. And matter of fact, in Los Angeles, a movie theater closed down. Forgot what theater closed down, but one of the movie theaters closed down because of the pandemic, because of the fact that they didn't have enough money to keep things running.
Well, and that makes sense. Honestly, I don't see how much longer ours could do it because we have within a 20-minute drive from my house, I have 3 movie theaters.
Oh wow! I wish I had
Right.
that convenience. To be honest
Right.
with you.
Well, so we have an AMC in one town going one way. We have an AMC in the same town going the other way. And then we have a marquee movie theater literally also in the town we live in.
Okay.
So 2 of them are in our town and one of them's in the town next door. And honestly, if I drove 30 minutes, I could go to another movie theater.
Oh wow!
Also another AMC. Why do we have 3 AMCs in a 30-minute radius? I don't know.
But that's pretty convenient, though. If you can't see one of the show times or whatever, you can go to another one.
And that's literally how we used to do it. But like, it's interesting. Like, I guess all the theaters probably now are the same.
Right.
Where you all have the electronic chairs now, and you could sit back, and it's
Right.
not just going into it like it. Now it's all like fancy going into the movie theater. But our one theater in our own town, they didn't do that for the longest time. I feel like they were like the last one on the book to get that done. So
Oh,
they
wow.
just had like the old, like, crappy shoving everything in one seat and this fold down seat that you had that would bounce up every time you stood up. And so I don't know. I honestly don't know if that one's open still.
Man, I remember going. Here's the thing: I told you about 45 minutes away. Well, one is a Grand Theater, and the other one is a theater in the mall. So I used to go. Okay, so if I miss one, I can just go down to the one in the mall and see what they have and everything, and do it that way. And I can eat in the mall and then go ahead and go see my movie. But I also like the Grand Theater because they also serve buffalo wings now and other stuff. So I'm like, what do I want to do?
So the theater that we have that's 30 minutes away, I actually don't think I've ever actually gone there, but that one does that. It's like a restaurant
Mhm.
in the theater, I guess. I don't know. I've never been there, but apparently you can order food to get like delivered to you at your seat.
Yep, you just have to go ahead and give them your seat number, and then they go ahead and deliver it.
Yeah, see, I've never done that. That's a little much for me if I'm going to the movies. I just want my popcorn, maybe some nachos.
Right, exactly. Because you don't want indigestion either. So
Right.
it's like, ooh, that hamburger, I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I'm just. Here's the thing: I grew up in the '90s. I'm just an old classic person where I like my popcorn and I like my Coke. That's all I want.
right.
I don't need actual food. That's why I go out to a restaurant to have normal food. I want I want to get fat. I want popcorn. I want soda.
Right. That's what. It's funny. Like, give me some Bunch of Crunch to mix in with my popcorn. And I'm also, again, this is me being cheap, and I know it is. Rick and I usually stop at like the nearest dollar store or pharmacy or whatever and buy all our candies and shove them in my purse, and then just have to buy the popcorn and the soda at the place.
That's what I do though too. Matter of fact, that's what my brother-in-law and I did. I got some Reese Pieces. He got some other chocolates or something like that.
Exactly.
And that's what we do.
Bring them with you. Save yourself $12.
Exactly, because the combo alone will charge you about $15 or $20 just for a combo.
I know, it's like $7 for like a box of candy. Like, get out of here.
Right, exactly. Like, okay, I can go down to the drugstore, get me something to eat, get me some candy, and then come back next door to where the movie theater is, and I'll be good to go. So with that being said, I think that's gonna be it for the show and everything. I do appreciate you coming on, Michelle. I really do. I enjoyed having you as a guest. I would like to have you back again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I had fun, and I'd absolutely love to do it again soon.
Most definitely. And I would like to have you back maybe for the Mortal Kombat one and maybe one of the other topics that we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. We'll
all
get
right,
on it
guys.
soon.
Most definitely. And all right, guys. So if you guys want to go on ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go on ahead, show me some love over there. Another thing too is if you guys want to donate to the page, how do you do that? Just go to www.gofundme.com/movie lovers podcast. Also, too, we also have a website called www.movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and wants. Go over there, show me some love over there. Of course, you can follow me on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Night over there underneath the same brand on Pinterest and also on Instagram as well. You guys can also follow me at Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter, and then of course on Movie Lovers Unit over there on the Stereo app. Sometimes Charlie and I do some shows over there. And then of course you guys can go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And those are all the places that you can reach me at. And of course you get an audio only episode of this show and many more wherever you guys get your podcast at. And of course, always until next time, guys, it's been found, it's been real. I can't wait to do this again. And bye-bye.